What's it driving? And do you want that? Do you want that force-driven way?
Alright, third time is the charm. Okay, so I originally wasn't gonna stream today, but I've been working on spreadsheets all day long, and I'm slowly losing my mind, so I figured I would try to have a look at our landscape plugins and yeah, catch up on some review work I was supposed to do. And that's what we are going to be focusing on today. As always, the stream is live on YouTube and Twitch. You can ask your questions. We will try our best to answer them, and yeah, should be good. Danke. Okay. Alright. Let's see how this will go. We do have some new internal plugins that I'm running currently. One for quests that I'm not really gonna look at today, because we plan on doing a big charity stream to raise some money for charity, and we want to use our latest quest build to kind of promote that and get as many viewers as possible. So I don't really want to show that off. What I can show is the first generated LOD, which is pretty exciting. But because of these new plugins, the game might actually be a bit less stable than usual. So we'll see how this goes. Also, I myself am only looking at the Twitch chat since I do not have two monitors, so I can only look at the chat on my phone. Oh, actually another thing I have is our updated weather, so now I can actually show the Valus mountain region. I'm also running a plugin where I have some new NIFs installed, so when I pick up ingredients, there's a visual feedback that the game gives you now, so that's pretty cool. Okay, from the get-go I noticed the game is a bit laggier than usual. So you're just gonna have to ignore that because it's the first time I'm running this myself.
I'm waiting. A thorn in our side is more like it. Those fools are nothing but a glorified club. They never contribute to anything useful. They never will.
Ah, yes, I have to change the Twitch title, my bad. Skyblivion gameplay, landscape, review. That's good enough, I think. Yeah. I realized that Sunday evening is not the best time to stream, but I've been too busy most of today, so. Alright, I'm looking at the chat now, so if you have questions, just leave them on Twitch, and they will get answered ASAP. There we go. Actually, we are running a lot of improved weather changes, like the new 4K clouds from Manga Club, which look pretty nice. Alright, let's start around Broome and then make our way to the Clovian Highlands. As you can see, this part has newly generated LOD now. So, for instance, this is Vanilla Oblivion, and this is Skyblivion with actual mountain cliffs, etc. So that's where we're gonna start off, and then we will slowly work towards the Clovian Highlands and then into the Gold Coast, which you might be able to see has changed a lot. But yeah, first let's go to the town where the women are men. Or city. Yes, Skyblivion heavily relies on SKSE. So in order to put this on the Skyrim Special Edition, we will either need to wait for SKSE, or one of our tech wizards has stated that he will be able to create our own version of SKSE himself as a software developer. So either way, that's going to happen. I hope with the official support from the SKSE team, but we will see. Oh, alright. These are actually new banners that have been made recently. I did not know that they worked in game yet. Wait, are these new? These have to be new, right? This is too much detail for Vanilla Oblivion, I think. I think they are new. Right, well, anyway. Quests somewhat work right now. Let's see if I can give you a quick example. But they're still in early stages, and I don't really want to show off quests until our big charity stream.
Make it quick.
Since the whole selling point for the charity stream is showing off the new quests. So I think here in the inn is where you start the quest for the vampire hunter. So let's see if that works. I forgot who you had.
What do you want?
Talk.
I have no time for your pathetic attempts at small talk.
What?
Now, walk away before I
Stop
get
talking.
nasty.
Enough.
I'm waiting.
What can I do for you today? I know I may be out of line by saying this, but I think the city guards may be wrong. It's hard to imagine Braden was a vampire. I could have sworn I saw him outside in the daylight before. Unless he just got that disease very recently, I'd say they were mistaken. When I heard Raynil killed him, I didn't know what to think. But after your visit here, I'm beginning to wonder. Galaborn? That's odd that you should mention that name. Raynil told me that he was the last vampire he hunted. Yeah, that's right. Somewhere in Skingrad, I believe. He said he tracked Gelborn down and killed him. That's apparently why the guards trust him so readily. They had gotten word from Skingrad's City Watch about Raynil and his so-called accomplishment.
So as you can see, we just triggered a quest, and that's essentially where quests are at right now. They're mostly functional, but we still have to write the objectives. So it's a bit hard to see what we have to do now, for instance, because you have to read all the text and you don't have these short objectives at the moment. One thing I want to mention real quick is that I love the face gen on this guy, for instance. He's a Nord who owns a tavern, and we gave him this kind of drunk look with the red cheeks and the red nose, which I really like. Gives him a bit more personality. Something that Oblivion kind of lacked, because all faces look like potatoes. Right, so this is a a bug that we have currently. All beggar clothing, I think, has a drain health magic effect on them. So in every city, the beggars just kind of drop dead randomly, which is fun. Keeps the game fresh. Oof, my game is a bit laggy. Alright, I've already been here. I picked everything up. This is actually an area that we have not really worked on yet. But as you can see in the distance, that's kind of where we want to go. Where we're heading. Some stuff I could show off while we make our way over to the Gerald Mountains, or at least the Gerald Mountain side that's been worked on, is some weapons. As you can see, my character's completely loaded with weapons. We have Blackwater Blade, which is really nice. It has a really cool sheath too. And some other cool weapons. This is Chorent, made by Kellowitch, which is really awesome. It's a unique weapon from Oblivion. It's not finished yet, but it looks really amazing so far. There's some miscellaneous stuff like a simple club, ebony blade, iron weapons, and then some cool stuff like the sort of Jigalag from the Shivering Isles DLC, the Maze of Moloch Ball, which looked quite different in Oblivion compared to Skyrim. Is this a new bow? No. No, this is an old bow. Ignore that. and Volendrong. So that's pretty neat. All these weapons were made by JRC, with the exception of Chillrend, which is made by Kellowitch. Oh.
Now you will feel pain.
That's it? Alright. One lonely bandit, that's not too difficult. We might as well clear this cave if you guys want. You guys can decide if we move into the cave or continue working our way to the Gerald Mountains. Yes, alright. Fair enough. I hope everyone had a good weekend. I hope this is a nice way to end your weekend.
You move like a pregnant.
Oblivion dialogue is the best. Poor kitty. Alright, I'm noticing that my PC is really laggy at the moment, which is very unfortunate. Yeah, chill Rend. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. This is actually my favorite sword from Oblivion. I always... the first quest I did was always the one where you have to help the old man. His farm has been under attack by goblins, and his two sons are going to defend it, and he asks you to aid them. And if you make sure that both sons survive, then you get the unique sword Chillrend as a reward, which is really cool. The sword also fits our armor set perfectly, because it has a frozen effect to it upon touching people. Oh shit. There we go. gonna warn everyone that this is not going to be the most entertaining stream of all time.
You move like a pregnant cow.
Because for one, it's not that late, but I'm kind of tired, and the stream is mostly for me to have a look at our landscaping and take some notes. So I hope you guys will enjoy this nonetheless. The game does seem to be a lot darker than usual. It's weird. I already upped the brightness quite a bit, so I'll put it a tad higher and see if that works. See if that helps. Oblivion gates should be a lot more fun in Skyblivion, since we are trying to make them more unique, so that not every single Oblivion gate is the exact same. I hope this fixes the brightness a little bit. Alright, let's get out of here. The plan is to eventually bring back Quickcast, or at least try. If it works really well, it'll be included in the mod. If it doesn't, then it won't. For people who do not know what that is, Oblivion's spellcasting was a bit different from Skyrim, because you were able to, for instance, wield a sword and a shield, and you would still be able to cast magic by what was called quick casting. So, for instance, the way you shout in Skyrim is kind of similar to this, but instead of a shout, you would like shoot a fireball with a little animation. And our plan is to bring this back, but it really depends on how well we can implement it. If it turns out to be buggy and very overpowered, or just break too much, if it ends up breaking the game, then obviously it won't be included. But it's kind of too early to tell right now, so all I can say is that it's on our to-do list and we are looking into it. And I hope we can bring it back, because I myself really miss it. And I am lost. No, I'm not. There we go. I always was a spell sword in Oblivion, so it's always kind of been my go-to class, and that kind of died when Skyrim came out, which is not a bad thing per se. But I found the mage class in Skyrim to be a lot more, or a lot less interesting, and just more boring, and kind of too similar to one another. So I kind of stopped playing as a mage. Once we are in the newer part of the Gerald Mountains, I will have a look at the streaming settings to see if anything got screwed up accidentally. Because looking at the stream, it is indeed pretty dark for some reason. Alright, so this is the part that we want to get to. Everything up until this point has not really been touched, landscaping wise, at least barely. And on the other side of these rocks is where it gets more interesting, and that's where we're heading. Yeah, but that's kind of the problem with the brightness, because it looks fine now, but my brightness is almost maxed out, which is really weird, because that's obviously not good, because the game is not supposed to look this bright to me. Alright, next level mountain climbing. There we go, finally a road or a path leads up. Alright, so this is part of the new Gerald Mountains that's been worked on by Starkchaser and Clef J. You all should be pretty familiar with Clef J. He streams every Thursday. He currently is working on the Valus Mountains, which are right next to Morrowind. And he also recently finished working on the Oblivion Highlands. And fun fact is that the Oblivion Highlands are about as big as 2/3 of Vardenfell, which is the location of the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. And he finished the first pass in that entire region. So within like 3 months he finished an area the size, well, not of Vardenfell, but half of Vardenfell, which is pretty huge. which is this area, by the way. He finished this part, pretty much. Which currently is my favorite part of Cyrodiil, because it does look really good already, and we haven't really started on the smaller details yet, so it's pretty exciting. Alright, so let's give you guys a look at the Jarl Mountains. Now, they're currently very early on as far as the landscaping goes. This was the first region we started working on, and looking back at it now, there's a lot of room for improvement. It's also still on the first pass, so a lot of details have to be added. But across the board, there's so much we can change and enhance, which we will. So if you think that this looks good right now, then I hope that you will be pleasantly surprised when the mod gets released, because it should be a lot better in the future. But yeah, it's looking pretty nice already. Now, for people who might complain that this looks too much like Skyrim, that's kind of the idea, because on the other side of this mountainside is Skyrim. The Jarl Mountains are also a location that you can go to in the Elder Scrolls 4 or 5 Skyrim. So, if you think that this looks similar, then that means we did our job. Though again, it can be improved a lot, which it will. Also, thanks to Grievesy, now when you harvest ingredients, the part that you actually harvest gets removed, so you can see what plants have been picked and which have not. So that's new. I always forget how weird Hermaeus Morris' shrine looks, or looked in Oblivion. Really messed up.
Between the seen and the unseen, the seeming and the being, lies a gulf of ignorance.
Right.
You have not yet followed the path required to speak with the Lord Hermaeus Mora.
The fate of man drifts like seaweed, net of his mind.
Again, I apologize if this is not very entertaining or energetic on my behalf, but the stream is mainly for me to check out our landscaping and take some notes, which I can discuss this next week in a meeting with our landscaping team. But I'm trying my best to look at chat and answer questions, and also kind of talk about our vision and the development of the mod. So I hope that at least that is worth staying around for. Also, the Scamp. Oh yeah, okay, this is actually Scamp. We use Skyrim creature models for all our creatures at the moment. So we use scamps for, or we use the Falmer for scamps and goblins. But we recently more or less finished our goblin model, and Arisarn has started implementing the first creature in game. I won't show it off too much because it's very early on, and we want to dedicate a video to actually showing off the new creatures properly. But Oh shit, they're all dying because of my armor set. But yeah, these are the actual new goblins using custom animations. Now, the reason why it walks so weird is because it's using the Goblin Shaman animation. So usually the shaman have a staff that they're holding, which obviously the goblin is not. So it's walking around with an invisible cane right now. And also the model itself is not completely done yet. We need to make some minor changes. For instance, the toenails on the feet are looking pretty gross, which is great. But it would make more sense for them to be a bit sharper and shorter, so the goblins can use it to climb rocks and mountainsides more easily. And then for the hands, they can be a bit more sharp and shaped like razors or knives for them to kill and attack people and little creatures which they can eat. So those are kind of smaller changes that we have to make, but all in all it's looking pretty damn amazing. And on top of that, we are giving them, of course, their various outfits like armor, etc. Also war paint for the different tribes, because if you didn't know yet, goblins have multiple tribes in Cyrodiil, which each are a bit different to one another. You have, for instance, one that specializes in catching fish. So the goblin models should eventually reflect their own tribes a bit more clearly, which is going to be very interesting. We also have our concept artist actually working on concepts for the different tribes and armor sets, etc. So hopefully we can share some progress on that front soonish. Alright, and this is where we start getting into the Skyblivion Highlands, which was recently more or less finished, or at least the first stage of landscaping, which is the more generalistic changes. And after the first landscaping pass has been completely done, we can start focusing on adding more details. Work more on rock formations, add more clutter, plants, hidden treasures, stuff like that. Also work on cave exteriors, for instance, to make them more interesting looking. Yeah, I can show you the goblin face. Just give me a second. Whoops. Alright. Yeah, as you can see, they don't attack. All they have is a walking animation right now. But here's the face. I like how their little fingers wait for it. And of course when I want to show it off, it doesn't show. Yep, it doesn't. Alright. For the people who have seen the first Skyblivion teaser trailer we released last year, this area might look familiar, because it was one of the first parts of the Skyblivion Highlands that ClefJ started working on. And I showed it off in that trailer, and back then we were still using our old trees, which have been replaced with these new awesome looking pine trees. and some lore to kind of explain why the area looks the way it does, is that the Colovian Highlands is a very harsh and kind of a shitty place to be in Cyrodiil. Plants have a hard time growing all the way up here because the soil is not very fertile. Obviously deer have trouble making their way up into the mountains. You can find some mountain goats and some little settlements that people have built over the years, mostly hunters and farmers. But life all the way up in the highlands is not easy, which is kind of what we want to show with our landscaping. But still, we don't want to make it boring so that it's all empty and uninteresting to explore. So we still try our best to make it look as natural and cool and interesting as possible, which I think so far is going pretty well. And again, this is only the first pass on landscaping. There are 4 passes in total. The second, third, and fourth are all focusing on fixing bugs and adding more details. So it's definitely going to get better and better as we continue working on the area. So this is a place I think a lot of people will recognize for the fingertop quests. Okay, I'm looking at the stream right now, and the lighting is really bad. So I'm gonna see if I can fix this real quick. We have not yet finished the Alien runes. No. Yeah, the ground foliage is going to be much denser. We haven't really worked on our grasses yet, but we actually started working on that. We actually started working on creating our grasses today, more or less. Okay, I'm seeing if just removing the game as a source for OBS does anything. So I'm gonna add a new one. Okay, let's see if this does anything. Oh yeah, in the meantime, I also want to thank everyone for 50,000 subscribers on YouTube, and as of today, 8,000 followers on Twitch, which is pretty big. Nope, it still sucks. What the? Alright, that's very strange. Okay, let me close the game real quick. Wait, I'm gonna save so we don't have to start all over again. I think I might know what might be causing this. No, I'm not using any ENBs. Generally in my videos and live streams I do not use any ENB. I'm trying to turn it on and off again right now. Thank you. It's good. Good tip. Appreciate it. Alright, this might do something and it might do a whole lot of nothing. So we'll see. Alright, fingers crossed. Yeah, this is all concept art. Crap. If this doesn't work, I'm just gonna have to try to correct it with some streaming settings, and then I'll have to look into it some other time. Okay, this looks fine on stream. It's a good start. So far, so good. Crap. Damn it. Let's see if it works without. Alright, it works. This might actually be a bit pretty nice. All foggy and stuff. Alright, up next I want to show something, and the foggy weather is actually pretty good to do this because it's kind of hidden. It's hidden into the mountainside. And last time we showed it, people were pretty excited about it. So for people who have played Oblivion, you'll know that it's possible to find some Dwemer artifacts and some miscellaneous Dwemer stuff in the game. But you weren't really able to find any actual Dwemer ruins, and the lore does say that up in the Clovian Highlands there were supposed to be more Dwemer settlements as you got closer to the border of Hammerfell. So we added a new Dwemer dungeon of our own, which is not finished yet. For instance, the cannon is kind of turning out to be not great. Everything else is perfect. The cannon is a bit much. You can ignore that for now. But the ruin itself looks pretty gorgeous, and you'll be able to see it better without fog, actually. There we go. But yeah, one of the big aims of the mod is to actually make it more lore friendly than the original game, which sounds kind of silly, and it really is, because you know, I love Bethesda, and Oblivion is one of my favorite games of all time. But yeah, lore-wise, they could have done a lot better, which I think mostly has to do with them being pushed by the game publisher for a release, and people not actually being able to finish everything they wanted. But yeah, I'm happy to announce that the Skyblivion team is doing their best to fix this as good as we possibly can, within a limited time frame, of course, because we don't want it to take longer in order to make all these changes. But yeah, by all means, give us some feedback on what you think of, for instance, the Dwemer Ruin, because we do take your feedback into account at times. Also, let me know if the brightness is better. It looks better on my mobile phone, but it's a very small screen, so I might be wrong. Also, you can see the Imperial City there in the background. Pretty nice. Couple of examples of improved lore friendliness. Well, for instance, the Colovian Highlands are more Colovian Highlandish. They were always supposed to be more rugged and scarcely overgrown, which in Oblivion they simply weren't. Mountains in Oblivion were also very, well, weak, very uninteresting to explore, because there wasn't really a mountain in Oblivion in the entire game. There were hills with some rocks on them every now and then, which, as you can see, we have fixed. We've turned them into actual mountains. Let's see, we are adding locations to the game that are mentioned in the lore but have been left out of the game. A good example of this is Such, which was supposed to be another city in Cyrodiil, which was just left out completely. And Bethesda kind of corrected this by writing some new lore for the place and saying that it has been ruined and it was kind of burned to the ground or destroyed over time, which is a pretty good explanation, but crap, game crashed. But still, for the ruin of a once great city, there is very little left. So that's something that we're also fixing. We are adding a pretty big ruin to the Gold Coast, where Such was supposed to be located. Daisy or Oblivion? Ooh. Tough. Yeah, the brightness might still be a bit low. Will rebuilding Kvatch be a thing for Skyblivion out of the box? Ah, colors are fucked again. Shit. No. Kvatch Rebuild is honestly a very cool mod. but it would be a lot of work for us to implement something like this into the game, and there's already so much work for us to be done that it's not really possible, unfortunately. However, the idea is that we are going to be including a mod conversion tool, which should be able to convert scripts from original Oblivion mods, so that the user can convert these mods for Skyblivion. So a mod like Kavach Rebuild is a bit more what's the word? It's a bit more complex, but in theory it should be possible for you guys to convert that mod so that it works with Skyblivion. So if everything goes well, you will be able to at least play Kavach Rebuild as it was for the original Oblivion game. Not sure how well it holds up, but at least it's something. Alright, so what you can see right now is a pretty obvious first pass area, because it's very empty. Also, what people asked a little back is about the vegetation and why it's so scarce. It's actually because of an ini setting in my Skyrim config. I currently have my grass density set to 20, I think, maybe lower. So that's why there's so little grass on the ground right now. The Oblivion Dremora already look different from those in Skyrim. I should be able to show you one. Oh shit. Alright, Naked Man. Yeah, it's not it's not perfect, but they do look a lot different from those in Oblivion. No idea why his body is red and his face is not. It might be because I spawned in a faulty model or a faulty NPC. But they will look different compared to those in Skyrim. Also, the armor set will be remade, so that will also look a lot better. Yeah, I thought all face gen was included, but I suppose that either I messed up installing them a while back, or they aren't as complete as we thought they were. Are textures going to be open source for modders? No, the textures are made for the project, and I mean, if you really want to use them for your own projects, then you would have to take it up with the original creator of that specific texture, which for us would be Clearance, Damien, or Gorgula. But generally speaking, they are specifically made for Skyblivion, so if you want to use it for anything else, you probably can't. Alright, so this is a little valley that's a bit more finished, which I wanted to show after talking about the area that was a bit empty. So this is kind of what you can expect from the Highlands as a whole. And even this is still going to be worked on later on to get a bit more polish. Cheat. But don't tell anyone. Oh yeah, we talked about lore friendliness and how we are trying our best to enhance the immersion and the lore friendliness of the mod. And this is another example. This is a gateway or a gate to Hammerfell. This is actually one of the roads that I don't think was included in Oblivion originally. Maybe it was. But supposedly this would be one of the more popular trading routes towards Hammerfell. So merchants from Cyrodiil and Hammerfell would use this to travel back and forth into Cyrodiil. Which was added by Clef J, and we are doing this for all the provinces, kind of similar how Skyrim did. Skyrim also has these gatehouses near the borders. But yeah, beyond these this mountain lies Hammerfell, home of the Red Guard. And this looks like shit, I realize that. It'll look a lot better when the LOD is actually generated. But yeah, that's another pretty cool example of how we're trying to improve what's already there. At least it's up to you if to decide if this is an improvement or not. I think it is. You might disagree though. Sorry. Will the mod be hard to install? No, not at all. Skyblivion will have its own installer, which will essentially take care of everything. All you have to do is download the mod, which will probably be hosted on www.skyblivion.com, which is our website. It just might be up on Nexus Mods, but I kind of doubt it. But yeah, installing will be very easy, and our installer will guide you through the entire process. This is also one of the new locations that has been added. Pretty much 90% of what you're looking at right now has been made from scratch, as far as the landscaping goes. But the road we are following right now will eventually lead to a new settlement called what's the name again? Cliffshire. Cliffshire is a little settlement with an inn and some farms to supply it with food. They brew their own mead and beer, which they sell at the local inn. And overall, it's a pretty cool place. Kind of the story behind it is that merchants, for instance, from Hammerfell, traveling Imperials, traveling Legionnaires, hunters, etc., are going to want to go to Cliffshire to get some rest, find a bed for the night, and continue on their journey the next day. That's kind of how the place yeah, keeps itself alive, and that's where they get their money from. Sorry, I had a brain fart. Will there be carriages outside of cities? We don't really have anything like that planned, but it would be pretty easy to implement, so definitely maybe. Alright, so this is Cliffshire. Not a whole lot to show right now, except for the exterior of the town. I can go inside of the inn, which is called the Golden Elk. But there's not much to show right now. As you can see, place to cook and sit by the fire, have a meal. But yeah, it's currently pretty empty. Spellcrafting is something that we hope to implement, but it's as of now not sure if we will be able to do this or not. I really hope we can, but it's kind of a tough cookie to crack, actually. As you can see, this place is pretty empty. It's because it's reserved for some more shacks and farms. This is also a slightly more polished area of the Colovian Highlands. Oh, that's nice. Oh, this is new. I think Clef added this himself. Very nice. Ah, right, I forgot to I forgot I had one of these new goblins running around. As you can see, for people who are colorblind, we got you covered. The goblins do not work properly yet. We are still working on on getting them to work. Right now, all we have is a walking animation, which actually it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's pretty fucking huge for Skyrim modding. Up until this point, there hasn't been a single mod that added custom creatures with custom behaviors and animations. So once the goblin is completely finished as far as the behavior and animations goes, it'll be the first creature in the history of Skyrim modding that doesn't use any Skyrim assets, which is pretty awesome. Alright, I think this is a good point to change the scenery a bit. I'm really quick gonna show you some Gold Coast progress, and then we will move to the Veilous Mountains, and then I'm calling it a day. Alright, this is a good example of what happens when you change your location markers. You spawn inside a rock. Which is not good. Let's get some clear weathers. Hopefully. This looks pretty nice. Alright, so this is the Gold Coast region. It's being worked on by our landscaper Arksy. A lot of what you see right now is pretty experimental. We are hopefully getting new cliffs to replace the ones that you're currently looking at. I'm not tired at all. So, one of the more major changes in the Gold Coast area is that, well, for instance, in the lore, it's described as a fairly flat, flat region, and in Oblivion, in vanilla Oblivion, it was very hilly. So we kind of went with a compromise, and we added these sandstone cliffs, which are pretty common in areas like these, and we thought it kind of fit the Gold Coast name. And then as you explore the Gold Coast further away from the ocean, it'll indeed get more flat and more similar to the way it's been described in the lore. Sunset is goddamn pretty. We also actually started adding a new settlement in the Gold Coast, which I will actually show you right now. While we watch the sunset. So what's kind of interesting about the Gold Coast is that you have Anvil over that way, and this big, huge ocean in front of you, and for some reason there were 0 fisheries or fishing settlements, or there was nobody profiting from all the fish that could potentially be caught in this huge ocean. So I present to you a fishery, which also produces their own boats. Left and right you can see the boat houses and the tracks that lead into the water. And a stranded ship right there, which is also pretty nice. And we're actually able to enjoy one of Stade's new weathers right now, and it's looking pretty good. It's actually the first time I'm seeing this too, so. That's really nice. And I'm not using an EMB, by the way. This is all 100% Skyblivion. No post-processing or anything. One other thing we want to improve. As you can hear, there are a shit ton of seagull sound effects playing in the background. And we currently do not have the people to fix this because we do not have a dedicated sound effects team. But when I get more work done with the other departments, I will definitely look into getting a sound effect team going to improve a lot of Oblivion's sound effects, because the seagulls on loop are just annoying. And as you can see, there's not a single seagull in sight, which we do plan to add, but still not in these apparently huge numbers. And they won't stalk the player. They'll be tied to specific locations, as sound effects should. Also, the beaches right now are very empty. Eventually they will be made a bit more interesting, with variation in height, some debris from ships, some seaweed and twigs and stuff that the ocean washed up. Yeah, adding stuff like olive trees is definitely something that that we can do for this region, as it does indeed, as you said, it fits the lore. Having a vineyard also is not a bad idea. But as I mentioned earlier, the first pass is just general landscape enhancements. For instance, lowering terrain and raising it at certain points, adding these sandstone cliffs. And then once that's done, we can start focusing more on little details. Oh, actually, now I think about it, olive trees is actually one of the trees that I requested a while back when we started getting asset lists together for the specific regions, along with a bunch of other trees for the Gold Coast. There it is, anvil. And Kvatch burning in the background. Whoops. Yeah, my third-person camera or first-person shadows is from a mod, actually. We haven't really started working on the area surrounding Anvil yet. As you can see, the only thing we really changed is the lighthouse. Gonna make a nice little screenshot over here. Is it me or is it getting foggy? I think it's getting foggy. Yeah, it is. Alright. Whee! Alright, so last place I want to show off is the Velas Mountains, which Clef worked on, which is close to Dive Rock. There we go. Which is turning out to be quite the interesting region. What time is it? Come on, game, work with me. There we go. Alright, so the Velas Mountains are right next to Morrowind. So we are trying to give the region a bit Morrowind-ish like vibes. and as with all regions, generally just make it more interesting. Ignore the red trees, by the way. We got them from Enderal, but we are not going to be using them. And this is also a fun one. This tree is snapped in half because it was imported incorrectly. It's great. It's fantastic. 10 out of 10. But yeah, we ended up deciding not to use the Enderal assets for this region. This is pretty interesting though. So the Valles Mountains is kind of a mix between very cold Gerald mountain-like terrain and more autumn-like terrain, as you can see with the colorful trees. But we actually added a glacier to the higher area. As you can see, this part still needs to be worked on. It's pretty empty right now. But we did add this big ass glacier, which feeds the lake down there and goes all the way up into the mountains, into the mountain pass towards Morrowind, which is pretty nice. So last thing I want to show you is the Ancestor Moth area. For those who have played the Dawnguard DLC, you will know that the Ancestor Moths are attracted by these pinkish blossom trees. And in Cyrodiil there's a Ancestor Moth priest, what do you call it? A temple. Where you have these monks that live in high up in the mountains in solitude. Now, currently the trees are too pink, and they are not using the Dawnguard Blossom model, but they will be replaced with those, and surrounding them, as you can see, are the Ancestor Moths. So eventually it'll look a bit less epic than this, because currently it's a bit over the top, but it'll look pretty similar, just with less purplish pink trees and more red pink. Alright, and that kind of concludes what I'm able to show you today. I am sorry that I am so tired and unamusing, but I still hope that you found the stream somewhat interesting and you learned something. If I didn't get to your questions, I apologize. There were a lot and I wasn't paying enough attention to chat. But I noticed that a lot of moderators were taking care of them, so big props to them. Will you add children to Skyblivion? Yeah, a few. Children are not killable in Skyrim. but there are mods that allow you to kill them, so that's not really something that Skyblivion is gonna more or less fix, since others have already done this. So if you really want to kill children, you can. And yeah, that's gonna be it for me. I want to once again mention that we plan on doing a big developer live stream this summer, where we will be showing off quests, hopefully creature behavior, and the first custom music tracks for the Skyblivion soundtrack. This is going to be a charity stream, where we will try our best to raise money for a good cause, which is why we want to save all the good stuff for then. So yeah, I recommend you turn on notifications for the channel for Twitch, that you follow us on social media at Skyblivion on Twitter, Facebook and Reddit. And yeah, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time. As always, on Thursdays, Clef J will stream some landscaping, and on Saturdays, Hakan streams work on the Gatekeeper creature. Also on Saturday on Twitch, Stade usually does a bunch of stuff, lighting, working on the trees, and whatnot. So yeah, also maybe, just maybe, a stream from Griefsea actually, which will either be UI work, some work on the custom spells for Skyblivion, or some other miscellaneous stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you want, you can ask a few more questions and I will try to answer them for a few minutes, and then I'm gonna sleep. When will the charity stream be? We don't have a release date, a stream date yet. We have to take care of a few things. First of all, we have to set up a PayPal account for the donations, and make sure that it's 100% transparent for the people who are watching how much money is being donated, so that no one at the end thinks that we took some of the money for our own. So that's pretty important. Besides that, we have to figure out some logistics, because our developers are from all over the world, and we have to find a day at which a handful of developers at least will be able to join the voice chat and talk about the project. So yeah, that's kind of stuff that we have to figure out first. But as soon as we know, you will know. Oh, and ArcSea might also stream sometime in the future. What is a season? Yeah, so the story behind my nickname is I wanted to be Rebel Size with an S, because my last name is Rebel and people had cool nicknames, so I thought something to do with Rebel would be cool. But someone already took Rebel Size, so I thought I might as well be Rebel Size, because it took me a pretty long time to come up with that name and I didn't want to do anything else, so that's kind of where that came from. Yeah, the first stream we did was probably by me. The first couple of streams I pissed myself because I was so anxious and scared about it. I still do, by the way. I hate starting a stream, but then as time goes on, it starts to get fun, you know. And I do enjoy being able to talk about the mod and answer questions, but it's always kind of scary to live stream for such a big audience. So yeah. What's the name of the mod that allows you to kill children? You'll never guess. It rhymes with killable children. What do I think about Beyond Skyrim Bruma? Pretty awesome. I'm hoping to find time to actually play the mod myself this summer. Are you going to expand towns and cities? Yes, most definitely. The cities will be getting a nice overhaul. They'll be made more unique and more characteristic. For instance, Bravil is a pretty poor city, so we will try our best to reflect that a bit better, or even better I should say, because it already does a pretty good job, but some more clutter can work wonders on a city like that. So yeah, most definitely the cities will be getting a nice overhaul. I jump in the stream and all I hear is it rhymes with killable children. Well, that's a pretty good summary for the stream, to be honest. Will the phases be updated? Yeah, we already have recreated all the NPCs. Can you keep the Oblivion Daedric armor style? Yes. We are not using any Skyrim assets as far as the armors and weapons go. We are recreating them all from scratch. And I personally liked Oblivion's Daedric armor better, so I'd hate to see the Daedra in Oblivion suddenly wearing Skyrim armor. It would break my heart. Who would win in a fight? The person Skyblivion or the person called Skywind? It will be a 2-hit knockout. Nobody wins. Or they both win. Kind of depends on how you look at it. I wish this mod could be modded itself. I love modding Oblivion. It'd be nice if people made mods for Skyblivion. The game is completely moddable. Most Skyrim mods will work just fine with Skyblivion. Plus, on top of that, we are including a tool that allows you to convert original Oblivion mods so that they work with Skyblivion. So, essentially, you have, well, not twice the amount of mods, but you have a lot more mods you'll be able to use once the game releases. Will Skyblivion feature only Cyrodiil or more Tamriel zones? It'll only feature Cyrodiil and Shivering Isles, but that's not really a province, it's a Daedric realm. Alright. I'm tired. I'm dead inside. I'm gonna call it quits. Thank you for joining us. Again, follow us on social media, turn on notifications for the channel, and I hope to see you tomorrow when hopefully Griefsy will stream some Skyblivion work. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, however long or short that might be. And may your roads lead to warm sands.